Hi everybody, my name is Rupa, working as assistant professor in Chevron Engineering College. So we are dealing the subject now HVDC transmission systems. So in this second unit, we are discussing about HVDC converters. So coming to the converters, already we have discussed in the previous unit. So these converters, all the HVDC schemes that are evolved before 1970, only thyristor valves are used. So after that, they have been developed so many techniques using freon, and this is used for the cooling off junction of thyristors. So this cooling off junction of thyristors, it has thrown a way to develop so many semiconductor devices. So such as new developments, we can go for gate ton of thyristors, GTOs, IGBTs, SCRs, and so many. So now we are discussing about the HVDC converters. So before going too deep into the converters, operation of 6 pulse and 12 pulse using converters, we will briefly discuss about the thyristors and the remaining converters. So you know that it is a power thyristor. Coming to the power thyristor, it is a power semiconductor devices, and these can handle high voltages and currents. These high voltages and currents which we are transmitting. So here we are using a wide variety of thyristors. So this wide variety is ranging from 1 kilowatts to 100 megawatts. In the table you can see the thyristors. So this is the diode configuration with maximum voltage and the current it can capable of carrying, the maximum peak current, and the temperatures, junction temperatures, and these are the various factors with the SCR, SIC, MCT, GAT, LASCR, GTOs, IGBTs. So these are the different types of the peak values, and it is the configuration. So before going to the converters, we will first see what are the equipments used, what are the equipments that are useful in the converters. So first we will see the SCR. It is the silicon control rectifier. It is often a thyristor family, but there is a simple difference between the thyristor and SCR. So actually, I will tell the difference at the last one, after a brief discussion. Actually, you know that a thyristor is a 3-terminal and 4-layered semiconductor device. Okay, this SCR is also a 3-terminal and 4-layer semiconductor device. So see here, it is the diagrammatical representation. This is the diagrammatical representation of the SCR. So it is having 3 terminals, A anode, C cathode, and G gate, and it is 4-layered, P and PN, and it is having 3 junctions, J1, J2, J3, and this is the circuit symbol of the SCR: anode, cathode, and the gate, and the direction of the current is from anode to cathode, and this is the switch symbol what we are using for the SCR in the circuits. This is the switch symbol. Here the positive one is anode and the negative bar one is cathode, and it is a gating, and this is the switch. When the switch is closed, the SCR is on. When the switch is open, SCR is open. See here, these are the different VI characteristics of the SCR. This is the VFBO voltage, forward breakdown voltage, and it is the reverse breakdown voltage. So SCR is having a forward breakdown voltage and reverse breakdown voltage. So see here, these are the holding currents and latching currents. You know, I think you are familiar with the SCR in previous sections. These are the currents, different types of currents, and it is mainly having three types of mode: reverse blocking mode and forward blocking mode. It is two. Reverse blocking mode is mode 1, forward blocking mode is mode 2, and third type of mode is forward conduction mode. Okay, so this SCR is said to be in first mode when the cathode is positive with respect to the anode. Okay, in the reverse blocking mode, cathode is positive with respect to the anode. Okay, and here junctions J1 and J3 are reverse biased. The junctions J1 and J3 are reverse biased, and only the junction 2 J2 is only forward biased. Okay, so this device in the reverse blocking mode, this will be behaving as similar to the two diodes which are connected in series with the reverse voltage applied across them. Okay, and if you apply a small reverse leakage current in, suppose in a few order of microamperes, when it flows through it, it is reverse blocking mode of the SCR. Nothing but the mode is called the reverse blocking mode, that is off state. And this small reverse current, it produced as the reverse voltage is increased till it reaches the reverse avalanche region. Okay, so here the reverse current will be increasing rapidly, and it is reverse breakdown at voltage VRBO. So that is called as reverse breakdown voltage. And coming to the forward blocking mode, second mode, forward blocking mode, this thyristor is this SCR is said to be in forward bias when anode is positive with respect to the cathode. So now the junctions J1 and J3 are in forward bias, and J2, the middle junction, is only in reverse bias. Okay, so this J2 will be reverse biased. It limits the forward current to a value of forward leakage current of some only milliamperes. Okay, so this thyristor is then said to be in forward blocking state. That means it is also off state. Okay, so if you apply any small positive gate current, it causes slight increase of forward leakage current. If a large gate is given, then SCR comes to the on state, from off to on state. Next, third type of conduction is forward conduction mode. It is mode 3. Okay, so in this, the thyristor will be coming to the conduction state, that is on state. It is called as on state. So this can be come to the on state by using 4 techniques. We can use 4 techniques and we can on the SCR. First one is, if you exceed the forward break over voltage, then it comes to the on state. Or if you give some gate pulses, gate current or gate triggering, it is called. So if you give some gate current or gate triggering to the gate here, so it will get on. Or if you exceed dV by dt rating of SCR. Okay, so dV by dt rating, if it is increased up to some limit, then we can on the SCR. And last one is irradiation of gate cathode technology. Okay, that means a beam of light will be directed to the gate to the cathode junction. Okay, so from gate to the cathode junction, a beam of light will be directed onto the gate. So it turns on the SCR. So this method of turn on is used in LASCR. Okay, so this is the SCR. These are the SCR modes, on modes. And now we will go for the 2 transistor model of SCR. So this is the 2 transistor model of the SCR. The 2 transistor, it demonstrates that a positive feedback action will be developing by when a PNPN device is switched on. Okay, so if a SCR is considered as an NPN and PNP transistor, when the collector is connected to the transistor which is attached to the base of other, or we can take vice versa. Okay, so if the collector of one of the transistor is attached to the base, if the C is attached to the base of other thyristor, then it becomes two transistor, which is equal to the SCR. So if two transistors we can take and we can connect like this, we can form a SCR. Okay, so see here, it is about the transistor, gate current, collector current, and emitter current. So E, B, C you are having in transistors. So see, these are the formulated values of the transistor. You can go through them. And next, now we will go to the characteristics of the SCR. See here, the delay time is called as TD. It is the duration, where here you can see the delay time. It is the duration between the front of the gate pulse and beginning of the rapid increase of the anode current. Okay, so front of the gate pulse, starting of the gate pulse, and beginning of the rapid increase of anode current, it is called as delay time. So see here, you can see the delay time here. So see here, from here to here, this is the delay time. Okay, and next TR, this is called as rise time. It is duration of time from 10% to 9% increase of the final anode current. So if the anode current increases like this, after it rises to some extent, and we are considering that after some extent, suppose if you take some 10% of the anode current remains unchanged, so from the 10% up to 90%, before the anode current disappears, up to 90%, if you consider the distance, it is called as rise time. Okay, and next, last one is spread time, TP. It is denoted as TP. So it is time taken for the conduction. Here it is the TP. It is the time taken for the conduction to spread over the entire cross section of the thyristor. Okay, so how much time is needed to spread over the entire time of the entire section of the thyristor? It is called as spread time. The name itself indicates. So total time, turn on time of the thyristor is termed as T on is equal to sum of these three times, TR, TD, and TP. Okay, so actually this will be in the order of 1 to 3 microseconds. Okay, next, this is at the time of turn on. So these are the dynamic characteristics of SCR during the time on. Now we will see the dynamic characteristics of the SCR during turn off. These are the turn off characteristics. Means if once a thyristor is turned off, means what happens? The thyristor has regained the forward voltage blocking capability. Okay, after the forward conduction, if the thyristor regains the forward voltage blocking capability, then we said that it is turned off. Okay, so if you want to turn off the thyristor, what should we have to do? First one, we have to reduce the forward current to a value which is less than the holding current, and we have to maintain the reverse bias at least for a specific period of time. If you have the capability of maintaining for a specific period of time only, then we can turn off the SCR. Until then, the SCR will not turn off. So see here, the thyristor is turned off by applying negative voltage to SCR. If negative voltage is applied to the SCR, then we can turn off the thyristor. So see here, suppose I am taking that here I am at 0 degrees, at T is equal to 0, I am applying a reverse current, or I am applying a negative current. So at T is equal to 0, if a negative voltage is applied to the SCR, then the anode current IA will be start decreasing like this. Okay, so it starts decreasing, and later if you apply any small reverse current, or see here, if it is okay for reversing the anode current, it is okay. So if the anode current is not still decreasing, we have to again apply the negative voltage. So if negative voltage is applied to the SCR, then the anode voltage will be suddenly decreasing. So it decreasing and it comes to the reverse direction. The current becomes 0 and later after becoming zero here, the anode current, a small reverse current will be flowing. This is the small reverse current. Okay, so this thyristor after off also this continue to conduct because of a charge is stored in the SCR and it acts as a short circuit with small positive voltage across it. Okay, even after the current is reversed, a stored charge, it makes it to add as a small positive voltage. So up to that time, about 60% of the storage energy will be recovered. Up to this is the recovered time, and the thyristor acts as a short circuit and the current will be reversing and it reaches the peak value here. So beyond this point, the thyristor will be developing a reverse blocking capability, and the reverse recovery time, this is called as TRR, the reverse recovery time. Okay, so again after this time also the turn off of thyristor is not completely come to end. Okay, and the junctions J1 and J3 has recovery time during 3RR, and the junction J2 has trapped charge. That means it is that this junction is also having some charge trapped into it. So this thyristor again blocks the forward voltage. Okay, so this time, and we have to wait for some time in order to reduce the trapped stored charge. Okay, so the time required for recombination of these carriers, it is TGR. This is called as gate recovery time. Okay, so TRR is called as reverse recovery time and TGR is called as gate recovery time. Okay, so the reverse voltage which we are applying the negative voltage right from T is equal to 0. So the reverse voltage which we are applying to SCR should be maintained during the gate recovery time also. So until the TQ total time, the turn off time TQ, until the TQ time we have to give the negative voltage to the SCR. Then only the SCR will be off. Okay, so this is the off process. Next we have seen until characteristics on process and off process. Now we are going to gate triggering or firing circuits of SCR. So this is the actually firing circuit layout of the SCR. So it shows the general layout and these are the output waveforms. These are the output waveforms of the pulse generator. Okay, so see here, for owning of the thyristor or SCR, we are having different types of processes. So out of these, already we have discussed about 4 types. So among those 4 types, this is the one of the different method and is the easy process. And it is considered as the fast process or most commonly employed process for turning on the SCR. So the gate control circuits are called as firing or triggering circuits, which we are giving to the gate. We are calling it as firing or triggering circuits. So actually this deals with only low power electronic circuits only. No high powers are required. These can be dealt with low power electronic circuits. Okay, so here we are having mostly 2 general functions of the gate control. So it actually produces the voltage pulses to each SCR at what time we require. So at any time, at appropriate time, we have a possibility of producing voltage pulses. Okay, and the pulses, second one, what is the function is second one, the pulses produced by the control circuit, these are at low power level only. Okay, so as these are with the low power level, these can be directly triggered to the thyristors. So these pulses are therefore, these are coupled with the gate cathode terminals of the thyristor to a driver circuit. So these driver circuit consists of a pulse amplifier or pulse transformers. Okay, see here, you can see the pulse amplifier or pulse transformers. Okay, so actually here, see, electronic pulse generator, it is used to place, it is electronic pulse generator. This is the electronic pulse generator, and it is usually placed separately, and it is placed away from the thyristors. And we are taking a separate DC power supply. We are taking a separate DC power supply to it, to the pulse generators. Okay, so these pulses are which are generated, and these are passed through the power pulse amplifier module. Okay, these are transferred to the pulse transformer. From the pulse generator, pulses are generated, and these are converted, these are transferred to the pulse transformer through a pulse amplifier. Okay, and from the output of the pulse amplifier, see here, it goes through the pulse transformers and damping network before these pulses are coupled to gate and cathode terminals. So before reaching here, they, in between there is a pulse transformer. Okay, so what is the function of pulse transformer is it isolates the current circuit from the high voltage anode circuit. Okay, so these are dealing with high circuits and high voltage circuits. So these are dealing with high voltage circuits, and these are having only low power applications. So it isolates the high circuits, high voltage anode circuits. Okay, now we will see these are the pulses generated, and now we will see the series and parallel operation of thyristor. First, in that first one, series connection. See, this is the circuit arrangement. This is the series connection. Two thyristors are here, T1 and T2. These are said to be connected in series. Okay, so here if you connect the two thyristors, actually you know that any two thyristors do not have same characteristics. So there may be difference, there may be variation of forward and reverse blocking characteristics, so which causes unequal distribution of voltage in steady states. So that's why I'm taking here two types of voltages, V1 and V2. So if any two thyristors are having the same characteristics, we can often take them as V1 and V1, or simply V and V. But no two thyristors are having the same similar characteristics. That's why I am differing the voltage. I am writing different voltages, V1 and V2 here. See here, so now we are here taking two types of thyristors of same ratings and specifications. So the voltage will be also divided. So the thyristor 2 is supporting higher voltage, and thyristor 2 is on the point of breakdown, this thyristor. So this T1 is supportingly only small voltages. T1 is subjected to only small, supporting only small voltages. So the maximum voltage that can block is equal to V1 plus V2. Okay, so not 2V2 or not 2V1. The maximum voltage that can, the string, this is called as a string, that string can block is V1 plus V2. Okay, so see here, this is the static equalization of voltage. So we are taking a nearly equal distribution of voltage. If you connect the thyristors like this, it is called as static voltage equalization. Okay, so if you connect the voltages like this, we can get nearly equal voltages distributed among them. So if you connect the equal resistances like this, this is called as static equalization, voltage equalization. So see here, if one thyristor in the string has short reverse recovery time, it will be supporting the string reverse voltage also. And if the thyristor which has the highest turn on time is supporting the string voltage at that time. So see here, another connection type of connection is using the diodes and capacitors here. So one method, this is one method of this is one method to minimize the turn on time differences. Okay, so here the use of capacitors is these forces the thyristor to share equal voltage during transient conditions. Okay, and the discharges are also same. And next, this is the parallel connection. See here, this is the parallel connection, and these are the VI characteristics of the thyristor during the on time forward conduction. So if the thyristors are connected in parallel, we can assume that same voltage drop is shared between the two thyristors. So this is having a voltage of VT. Okay, next, triggering series operated SCR. So this will be of two types, simultaneous and slave triggering. So here, see here in this, in the simultaneous one, this is the simultaneous one, simultaneous triggering of series connected SCRs using pulse transformers. So this method, the pulse is transmitted to the pulse transformer here. The pulse which we are giving, it is transmitted through the pulse transformer, and SCRs all are simultaneously connected. Secondaries of SCR all are simultaneously connected, and the insulation between the windings of the pulse transformer, it is able to support at least the peak of the supply voltage. Suppose if it is having, if any one of the SCR is supply voltage is highest value, it can be able to support, this pulse transformer is able to support. Okay, so as the system voltage increases, we are having some difficulties with this pulse transformer. And next one, simultaneous triggering by means of light. See here, this is the simultaneous triggering figure with the means of light. So all the SCRs, see here, all the SCRs are connected in series, and it is, these are used by the, these are used by the, achieved by triggering LASCRs, light activated SCRs in the gate circuit. These light activated SCRs are used for the gate activating. So this provides, this type of light activation is providing a gate isolation. It requires a gate isolation. So when the transmission is simultaneous and when the single light source is used here, we also use this. Here a single light source is used to turn on all the thyristors, and series combination of resistances, see here, from R1 and R2, these are made equal to give the resistances. See here, R1 and R2 and R3, so on, these are made equal to required shunt resistance RS, and R2 is compared to R1, it is of, when comparing R1 and R2, actually R2 is smaller than R1, so that a low voltage of LASCRs can be employed here. And third one is mounting and cooling of power semiconductors. So actually heat will be evaluated from this SCR. So we have to maintain the junction's temperature cooler in order to avoid the damage of the SCR. So this requires some mounting. Mounting means some on the board we have to mount them at a different spaces. So we have to give some spaces and we have to cool the power semiconductor drives also in order to get perfect characteristics. And next, line commutated converters. So these are also used for converting AC to DC or DC to AC. So next one, insulated gate bipolar transistors, IGBTs. You are common with IGBTs, I think. So this is the structure of IGBT. See here, this is the cross section of IGBT and this is the symbol used when you are using in the circuit. See here, this is the equivalent circuit of the IGBT. And these are the output characteristics of IGBT. So actually, if you observe the structure of the IGBT, we can see that it is same as MOSFET, except N substrate is replaced by a P collector region. Okay, so same, this IGBT is also having 3 terminals: gate, collector and emitter. Okay, so actually in MOSFET we can have gate, drain and source, but in IGBTs gate, collector and emitter. In place of drain and source we are getting collector and emitter. Okay, so here also the current flow will not occur when a negative voltage is applied to the collector with respect to the emitter, because the lower junction J3 here, the lower junction will be of reverse biased. Okay, it is also having some features and characteristics. See here, first one, reverse blocking capacity. First, it is having reverse blocking capacity. So when negative voltage is applied to the collector terminal, when the negative voltage is applied to the collector terminal, reverse blocking is provided by junction 3 here, and junction 3 becomes reverse biased. So for it becomes negative collector voltage. So when blocking voltage requirement increases, then N base width is correspondingly increased. This N base width is correspondingly increased. So the increase is typically from 0.1 to 0.2 millimeters. So here we can see that a devices with a reverse blocking, we can it is capable of blocking up to 4500 volts. And next, coming to the second one, forward blocking capability. So this is provided by P base and N base junction P2, sorry, J2. So if it is the J2 is positive with respect to the collector voltage, we can say that it is forward blocking capability. And in this forward blocking capability, gate is shorted to the emitter. And next one is forward conduction mode. Okay, so here we are injecting a carrier. Density is typically 100 to 1000 times greater than N base. So it reduces the series resistance to a small value. So IGBT will be operating at high current densities. Okay, so if you see in 2.15, see here, you can see here. So in order to see the channel resistance, in order to make it small, in order to reduce the resistance, we have to need large amounts of threshold levels. So we are injecting a carrier density which is typically of 100 to 1000 times greater than the NVS, which is doing. It reduces the series resistance to a small value. So now IGBTs will be operating at high current densities. Next, switching characteristics. So IGBT design is such that in order to turn on and turn off time, these are controlled by the gate emitter source impedances. Okay, so if you apply any positive voltage between the gate and emitter, it is turned on. If you apply any negative voltage between the gate and terminal, it is turned off. Okay, so VGE should be greater than threshold voltage VCE. And the turn off of the IGBT is controlled from the external circuit. Okay. So when coming to the IGBTs, the turn on or turn off times are usually of 2 to 3 microseconds. Next topic. Now we will see the HVDC conductor valves and valve assembly. So this is mainly of two types, thyristor valve assembly and IGBT valve assembly. So see here, the solid state power electronic components, these are available with maximum rates of around 5000 volts and the current limit is 80 to 300 amperes. Okay, and these are used for models of voltage rating 4 to 6 kV and up to 3000 amperes if you put in perfect connections. Okay, so these are two types, thyristor valve assembly and IGBT valve assembly. So these are individual or single valves or double valves are used for 6 pulse, and this is used for PWM inverters. Okay, next, now we will see the we will go into the topic HVDC voltage source converters, principle and operation. In that, HVDC conductors, so see here, these are the voltage source converters. So far, if you discuss about the HVDC converters, so we are seeing only 3 phases and 2 levels. That is nothing but 6 pulse bridges or 3 phase, 3 level, 12 pulse bridges. So these two are shown here. See here, this is 2 level and 3 level. In 2 level, you are having 6 pulse bridges or 3 phases, and in 3 level, you are having 12 pulse bridges. Out of these two, 2 level and 3 level, this 2 level is most simple circuit configuration. This is used for building a 3-phase forced commutator VSC bridge, voltage source converter bridge. Okay, and this is capable of generating 2 voltage levels, minus 0.5 UDC-N2 and plus 0.5 UDC-N. So this 2-level bridge, it consists of totally 6 valves, and each valve consists of an IGBT and an anti-parallel diode. This is IGBT and this is anti-parallel diode. Each one consists of one IGBT and anti-parallel diode. Okay, so if you want to use this 2-level bridge in high power applications, series connection of devices is necessary, and this each valve is built with n number of series connected turn off devices and anti-parallel diodes. Okay, so depending upon the voltage for high power applications, we are using the number of series connected IGBTs and diode, or we can use any turn off devices. Okay. So how many number is we have to use, that depends upon the uh, supply power, rated power of the bridge. So now at present IGBTs of voltage ratings 4.5 kV are available, and they can be switched on or off at about 2 kilohertz or less. And these can block a voltage up to 150 kilovolt amperes VSC, voltage source converter. And the current rating is 800 ampere, sorry, RMS, 800 amperes RMS. See here, this is the phase, 2-level phase module, and this is the 3-level phase module. So these phase modules are individually shown for 2-level and 3-level. So these phase modules, these act as like a switch, and these will be generating positive voltages and negative voltages. Okay, so these positive and negative voltages will be in the form of square pulses. This will be in the form of square pulses from a AC for each phase. If you consider a 3-level converter module, the pulse generated by the individual phase member, it is shorter duration. And if you consider a positive VD by 2 from each leg, it is added in time to get a continuous voltage. Always it is added simultaneously to get a continuous voltage. At the capacitor terminals, we have to add for continuous voltage. And if you take here, if you see here, we are having high generated harmonics. And these are of order high values, high order harmonics, and we need filter to eliminate them. So we need the filters on the AC side in order to eliminate. So the voltage, this is the voltage waveform of one phase of the inverter output. We can see here, this is the voltage waveform. So what are the advantages? You can go through them. Next, 3-phase. These are the components of VSC converter, DC capacitor, coupling reactor, that means we can call it as inductor, and high voltage valve, anti-parallel diodes, and high frequency filters. So DC capacitor on the side, on the DC side of the converter, we are using DC 1 or 2 capacitors in series with the center point of the ground, and it is connected across the converter to maintain constant voltage. And inductor, it is on the AC side, inductor coupling reactor, this is on the AC side between the transformer and the converter terminals, and the function is it reduces the fault current, and it enables the control, it enables the control of active and reactive powers from the VSC. And third one, if you use the PWM, it generates higher harmonics, which is relating to the switching frequency. And these harmonics are blocked in this PWM. And the next one is high voltage valve. So see here, due to the limited voltage, we are using a series connected high voltage valve with voltage balance across each component. For voltage balancing, we are using this high voltage valve. So this arrangement we can see here in the circuit. And anti-parallel diodes. See See here, we are using the anti-parallel diodes combination. These diodes are connected across the converter elements in VSC. So if these what they are these are connected in the converter elements in VSC, these will be forming a uncontrolled bridge rectifier. So if the diode is connected across the converter, it forms a uncontrolled bridge rectifier. If it is connected in anti-parallel, what happens? The fault, the short circuit fault, it can be cleared on the AC side after a few cycle of time. And next, high frequency filters. So in high switching, if you are dealing with high switching frequencies, we are getting high frequencies. These generate noise. So in order to suppress them, we are using this high frequency filters. Next, 3-phase 6-pulse converters using SCRs or thyristors. So this is called as 6-pulse bridge converter.